In Japan's Kansai, President Lee sat down with Korean residents there, expressing appreciation for their dedication and help when South Korea faced hardships. The South Korean leader returned home tonight after a two-day visit to Japan. Exports in the information and communication technology sector last year came to a record high, driven by booming global construction of AI data centers, which ultimately increased the demand for semiconductors. Prosecutors have asked for former President Yoon to be given the death sentence if he's found guilty over his botched martial law order. The court's expected to deliver its verdict in February. On the final day of his two-day trip to Japan, President Lee met Koreans residing there. He thanked them for their dedication and help when the nation was going through hardship, including the recent martial law incident. Our Yoon starts us off.
A message of gratitude was prominent as the president met Koreans living in Japan's Kansai region before heading home on Wednesday.
동포 여러분께서는 88년 올림픽 때도 IMF 외환 위기 때도 역사적 고비마다 발벗고 도움의 손길을 내밀어 주셨습니다. 그리고 가깝게는 불법 계엄 사태 때 대한민국의 민주주의를 지켜내기 위해 수많은 불빛을 밝히는 데 함께 하셨습니다.
President Lee Jae-myung noted the ancient village of Asakamura in Nara and the trace of people who migrated to the Japanese archipelago from the Korean peninsula in ancient times called Horyuji.
일본은 지리적으로 우리와 가까운 이웃일 뿐만 아니라 고대로부터 매우 밀접하게 연결된 곳인데 안타깝게도 한일 간의 불행한 과거 때문에 수천 년의 이 아름다운 교류의 역사가 제대로 기억되지 못하는 측면이 있습니다.
The event was joined by some 270 people, including the bereaved families of the Jeju April 3rd killing incident, and ethnic Koreans from Utoro, a small village in Kyoto Prefecture, where Koreans began to live after laborers from Korea were brought to build an airfield during Japan's colonial rule. President Lee apologized to them for what they had to go through and noted their fight against racism and efforts to defend identity.
차별과 혐오에 맞서 오사카시에 헤이트 스피치 억제 조례를 제정했고 민족학교와 민족학급을 세워 우리 말과 문화를 지키고 계승하기 위해 끈질기게 싸워주셨습니다.
He also vowed to put greater efforts in taking care of them, saying that the Koreatown in Osaka represents solidarity among people in Korea and Japan.
국민 주권 정부는 2026년 올해도 실용 외교를 통해서 동포 여러분과 함께 더 살기 좋은 대한민국, 더 존경받는 대한민국을 만들어 가도록 하겠습니다.
윤정민, Arirang News.
And earlier today, President Lee paid a visit to Horyuji Temple, one of Nara Prefecture's most iconic landmarks. Alongside him was Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi. The two leaders toured the temple's western precinct, home to several of the world's oldest surviving wooden structures, and posed for photos in front of its five-story pagoda. The Blue House says the visit was intended to further strengthen personal rapport between the two leaders. Also in Japan, the two leaders of Seoul and Tokyo exchanged gifts. President Lee Jae-myung gave the Japanese Prime Minister a high-end drum kit, given her passion for drumming, as well as a red ginseng and 청국장 powder. Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi gave the Korean president traditional Monaco wafers and a Casio wristwatch equipped with functions for hikers, given his interest in hiking. Their spouses also exchanged presents, with the Japanese first gentleman receiving a set of tableware and a Samsung Galaxy Watch Ultra, and the Korean First Lady receiving traditional makeup brushes and a pouch. After more than a year since the martial law declaration, South Korean prosecutors are asking that former President Yoon be handed down the death penalty. Now the ruling is set for the 19th of February. Our Kim Do-yeon reports.
The special counsel team for former President Yoon Suk-yeol's insurrection charges has demanded the death penalty. In its final sentencing request on late Tuesday night, the special counsel sought the maximum statutory penalty for the charge of being the ringleader of an insurrection. For the charge of leading an insurrection, the statutory penalties are strictly limited to death, life imprisonment, or life imprisonment without forced labor. Prosecutors condemned the actions as an unprecedented destruction of the constitutional order. They argued that while Yoon justified martial law as a purge of anti-state forces, it was the former president himself who truly fit that description. They dismissed his defense that the declaration was merely a warning against the opposition party's legislative dominance. Instead, the prosecution concluded that the objective was to incapacitate the judicial and legislative branches to monopolize power and secure a long-term dictatorship. Emphasizing the severity of the crime, the special counsel stated that members of the public are the true victims of the event. Inside the courtroom, the atmosphere was charged. Former President Yoon was seen actively consulting with his legal team and reportedly scoffed when the prosecution demanded the death penalty. In the gallery, supporters shouted protests, with some hurling insults at the prosecution team. During his final testimony, which lasted an hour and a half, Yoon fiercely criticized the indictment, labeling it a novel and a delusion lacking common sense. Yoon reiterated that the martial law was a warning bell intended to save the constitutional order from the opposition's tyranny, denying any intent to establish a permanent dictatorship. Heavy sentences were also requested for key officials implicated in the execution of the martial law decree. The special counsel demanded life imprisonment for former Defense Minister Kim Yong-hyun, identifying him as a co-conspirator who virtually controlled the operation alongside Yoon. The court must now weigh the conflicting narratives. The defense claimed that martial law was an act of governance against the special counsel's argument that it was a violent attempt to subvert the Constitution. The Seoul Central District Court is scheduled to deliver its verdict on February 19th. 김도현, 아리랑 뉴스.
With large-scale construction projects continuing to take place around the world, there is a greater demand to ensure the safety of human workers and working conditions. One AI solutions firm in South Korea has recently drawn global attention. Our Oh Si-young tells us more.
Working on a high-speed train tunnel, a construction site worker briefly removes his helmet. On-site sensors trigger a warning on a central management system, prompting a notification to the site manager and an AI-generated video clip. In another site, workers enter an off-limits zone. This is detected and once again sent to supervisors in real time to redirect them before an accident occurs. A Seoul-based company's safety platform Hammer H is used on industrial sites, from national infrastructure projects to workhouses and ships. The system consolidates environmental sensor data, AI-based video analysis, and real-time worker location tracking into a single dashboard, providing a full view of site conditions.
Industrial sites require a wide range of sensors. By integrating these various sensors along with CCTV systems and combining the Internet of Things with AI, we developed a smart safety platform that can be applied to construction sites.
The need for such systems exists globally. According to the International Labour Organization, more than 395 million workers worldwide were injured in 2019, while 2.93 million people died as a result of work-related factors. Long working hours accounted for the most deaths, followed by exposure to particulate matter, gases and fumes, and occupational injuries.
By integrating various elements such as gas sensors into these sites, we monitor the site conditions, help workers prevent risks, respond immediately when accidents occur, and, in the event that an accident does happen, enable rapid follow-up measures.
Hammer H monitors environmental factors, such as hazardous gases, temperature, and air quality through the Internet of Things sensors. Real-time location tracking shows where workers are positioned across the site. Smart tags and mobile applications enable alerts and SOS requests when a worker encounters difficulty. AI video analysis detects unsafe behavior, falls, or entry into restricted areas. The platform also keeps track of those with pre-existing health conditions, allowing more targeted responses when risks arise.
At sites where our platform has been applied, there has not been a single serious accident. In 2023, there was a case at one site where a worker with a heart condition was working alone, requested an SOS call, and was rescued through our system.
Shin says Raycom continuously trains with real-world data from national databases and also learns from accidents occurring around the country, allowing risks to be identified and managed as conditions evolve.
We already possess millions of video samples and continuously build pipelines to keep training the system. Through this process, we improve the accuracy of video analysis and further enhance the stability of the overall platform.
As industrial safety shifts towards predictive risk management, Raycom positions its all-in-one system as its key competitive advantage, particularly in global markets with long-term infrastructural projects.
Our team's top priority is translate our platform and technology into strategies that fits different international industry environments, regulatory frameworks, and commercial structures around the world.
Raycom recently presented its technology to Saudi Arabian government and industry officials and received a merit award.
The response in Saudi Arabia was extremely positive. Both government officials and industry leaders told us that it was the first time that they saw a platform capable of managing so many safety elements at an integrated way. So because Saudi Arabia has many large-scale and high-risk sites, so there is a clear need for an integrated safety management system rather than relying on separate tools.
As governments step up initiatives to promote AI across industry, firms like Raycom hope to further expand the reach of Korea's AI ecosystem, moving into diverse global settings. Oseong, Arirang News.
South Korea's benchmark KOSPI soared past the 4,700 mark on this Wednesday, for the first time extending a 9-day winning streak. The index closed the trade at 4,723.1, bolstered by institutional investors and confidence in South Korea's tech sectors. Given this latest milestone, market analysts believe the 5,000 mark is on the horizon. South Korea's ICT exports for 2025 recorded their best ever performance for any year, and December marked a record 11 consecutive months of year-on-year all-time highs for overseas shipments. Park Julan explains.
South Korea's ICT exports reached a record $264.29 billion in 2025, up 12.4% from the year before. According to the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Resources on Wednesday, shipments in December alone also rose 32.4% year-on-year to $30 billion, driven largely by strong demand for semiconductors and storage devices used in AI data centers. Semiconductors led the growth with strong gains in exports to countries such as Taiwan, Vietnam, and India. Annual semiconductor exports reached a whopping $173.48 billion, up 22.1% from 2024, thanks to soaring demand for high-value memory chips, including DDR5 and HBM used in AI servers. This marks the second consecutive year of double-digit growth for the sector, with prices for general-purpose semiconductors such as DRAMs continuing their upward trajectory. An expert in the field of semiconductors and AI said demand and exports for chips will be even stronger in 2026.
Semiconductor sales will see the biggest increase this year, and current forecasts suggests next year we'll see a similar level. At this point, the outlook appears highly positive and near its peak. This year is widely seen as the top of the upcycle for DRAM or memory chips.
Despite the increased adoption of OLEDs in IT devices, display exports saw a decline of 9.5% due to falling unit prices and weak demand for LCD panels. December marked the 11th consecutive month of year-on-year record highs for the sector's exports, with heightened market expectations pointing to a possible continuation of this strong momentum in the months ahead. Park Junan, Arirang News.
South Korea's employment growth edged higher last year, but momentum has remained limited for 2 straight years, as hiring gains were unevenly distributed. Employment polarization across age groups and industries has widened. Kim Junong has this report.
South Korea added 193,000 jobs last year, but inactivity among people in their 20s and 30s surpassed 700,000 for the first time on record. Figures released Wednesday by the Ministry of Data and Statistics highlighted deepening age-based polarization in the labor market.
Looking at 2025 as a whole, employment continued to rise for a 5th consecutive year, driven by gains in health and social welfare, professional, scientific and technical services, and financial and insurance services.
After the outbreak of COVID-19, annual employment growth declined briefly before rebounding, reaching a peak in 2022. Growth then lost momentum, with a downward trend seen over the past 2 years. While employment recovered slightly last year, the scale of the increase remained limited. Employment trends showed clear age-based polarization. Jobs among people in their 20s fell by 170,000, while employment among those aged 60 and over rose by 345,000. At the same time, the number of people classified as inactive, defined as neither working nor seeking employment, increased across most age groups. The total number of inactive people in their 20s and 30s reached 717,000, with the figure for those in their 30s marking the highest level since records began in 2003. The ministry attributed the development to recent structural changes in the labor market, rather than short-term economic factors.
Whereas open and entry-level recruitment used to be common, the job market has shifted toward experienced hires and rolling recruitment, leaving job seekers with a shorter period to search for work.
Employment trends also diverged sharply by industry. Construction saw its steepest job losses on record, while manufacturing posted its largest decline in 6 years. In contrast, healthcare and social welfare services continued to create jobs, highlighting a clear split across sectors. Kim Junong, Arirang News.
The National Tax Service announced that its year-end tax settlement simplification service will open on Thursday. In particular, new services will be provided this year. Cha Yoon-kyung has more.
The year-end tax settlement simplification service, which allows users to view all necessary income and tax deduction documents for year-end tax settlement, will be launched on Thursday. The service provides 45 types of documents this year, including credit card spending records. In particular, the service newly offers proof of use for developmental rehabilitation services and personal payment data for disability activity support benefits to ease the inconvenience of people with disabilities who have difficulty visiting institutions in person to obtain certificates. For expenses such as preschool children's private academy fees, monthly rent, or donation receipts, which are not provided or are missing from the year-end tax settlement simplification service, users must obtain the documents directly from the issuing institution and submit them to their company to claim the deduction. Starting this year, the National Tax Service will provide a more precise list of dependents who exceed the income threshold. To help prevent workers from incorrectly claiming deductions for dependents who exceed the income threshold, the Settlement Simplification Service will display information on dependents whose income surpasses 1 million won, approximately $680 on its data inquiry screen. Previously, income threshold determinations were based only on income from the first half of the year. This year, however, accuracy has been improved by incorporating reported business, other, retirement, and capital gains income through October. AI phone and chatbot consultations are available at any time for inquiries. This year, a generative AI-based chatbot consultation service will also be introduced on a trial basis in addition to the AI phone service. The finalized data and documents will be available starting from January 20. Cha Yoon-kyung, Arirang News.
The trend of experiencing Korea's everyday life is gaining momentum among foreign tourists in Seoul beyond the search for traditional landmarks. Visitors are now seeking out places Koreans enjoy as part of their daily routines, fueled by the global rise of K-content. Jo Young-eun has the story.
For Holly and Macy, it's their very first trip to Korea. And on the way to their next stop, they pause at a street side instant photo booth. Once a familiar activity for young Koreans, instant photo booths have now become a must-do experience for foreign visitors, capturing memories the local way. Their day continues at a beauty retailer Arirang, where personalized color consultations, skin analysis, and tailored recommendations offer a closer look at Korea's beauty culture.
We want to take back some beautiful skincare to Australia.
Yes.
Everyone here has incredible skin.
Yes, we're trying to meet a lot of people and asking local people for their recommendations.
Beyond Seoul's temples and palaces, more and more tourists are looking to experience how Koreans enjoy their daily lives, from visiting local cafes to eating the latest trending food. This neighborhood cafe has drawn visitors from around the world, all eager to try Korean-style salt bread that's gone viral on social media.
I chose this delicious salt bread bakery because it's really popular on social media, and I also love K-pop.
Yes, I think they're coming in greater numbers. There are a lot of Japanese people, a lot of people from Taiwan, and even a lot of people from New Zealand. So I am sensing the new trend.
From lining up at popular bakeries to enjoying local food like gomtang or beef bone soup, travelers are immersing themselves in Korea's everyday food culture. The Korea Tourism Organization says the shift is a natural result of K-content's global reach.
It seems to be a natural phenomenon resulting from Korean lifestyles being shared with the world in real time through K-content. Tourism itself is continuing to shift away from simply sightseeing toward more hands-on, experience-based, everyday life activities.
As Korea's daily life itself becomes a destination, traveling like a local is redefining what it means to visit Seoul. Jo Young-eun, Arirang News.
After a freezing start, temperatures warmed up nicely, and now rain and snow are forecast for rainy regions tomorrow. From late tonight, starting in Gangwon-do province, rain or snow will spread through tomorrow morning. Gangwon-do province could see 2 to 7 centimeters of snowfall. The rest of the country will get 5 to 10 millimeters of rainfall, except in Gyeongsang-do regions. So the dryness in those areas will continue, with a dry weather advisory remaining in place. Checking on the readings now, Seoul begins the day on Thursday above freezing at 3 degrees Celsius, and that rain should let up before the morning commute. Daegu begins the day at 1 degree Celsius. And by the afternoon, Seoul will be getting up to 8 degrees. Gyeongju will get up to 17 degrees Celsius. But along with warmer temperatures, their quality looks bad for most regions tomorrow. Temperatures will stay above norms through next Monday under mostly sunny skies. With that in mind, here's a look at the international weather conditions.
That is all we have for tonight. I'm Kim Dami. From all of us here at Arirang, thanks for watching and good night.